turn this over to Jennifer. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Courduff. I'm a professor at Azusa Pacific University here in Southern California, where we have good weather most of the time, but we pay high taxes, so there's that. I'm excited to be with you today, and I'm really excited to present this topic to you because it's one that's very, very close to my heart, and I think it's really important. And your attendance here lets me know that you think it's an important topic as well. As Deb noted, there we go, hold on. As Deb noted, I prefer to have questions as we go. I spent 23 years in public education before going to the university for the last 10, and I always had the ADHD kids in my class because I don't mind the blurting, so please don't feel rude, just go ahead and speak up. If we don't see something in the Q&A, just go ahead and interrupt me. I'm completely interruptible. I'd rather go that way, just so you know. So we did a lot of research. My research area at the university is I look at special educators, technology integration in a regular classroom. And I've been doing more research for parent perspectives. And we did 3 COVID-related research studies that are just about ready for publication this past year. And it's been really eye-opening. I've been honored to be able to interview teachers and parents across the nation over the past year regarding COVID and the shift from face-to-face to online, and parent perspectives of how AT transfers from school to home and what that looks like. And I can't tell you how much I learned, but also how much there is that we can do for parents to really support them. So parent perspectives of a normal world, is it ever really normal? So one of my interviewees, she's a mod severe TK teacher, and she is in her 8th year of teaching. And one of the things that she told me was that when her niece was diagnosed as a baby with autism, that she witnessed how it was hard for her sister to accept that, to really embrace that new normal. And her experience as an aunt versus as a teacher really changed the way she approached parents, because she saw her own sister go through fear and denial and being overwhelmed by the many hours of services that were available to that child, that little girl, and the number of support people that were in place for that child. It's occupational therapists and speech therapists and ABA and BCBA to help the ABA, and just a lot of people. And it's really overwhelming to parents. Plus, there's always that hope that educators can fix that child to be, quote, normal. And that's not really ever going to happen the way they think it's going to happen. And it's a grief process. You're grieving a child the child that you thought you were going to have, and you need to learn how to embrace the child and the magic within the child that you do have. And that's quite a thing. And so as Taylor was explaining it to me, I said, wow, that's really, really good insight for other people to know. Not sure who to trust. What other parent perspectives, just real quick in the chat, what other parent perspectives might I have missed? Here, I'm not going to put that open because then you can see it. Oh, in the chat. Yes, that's better. Oh, that's just her. Okay, I'm going to keep going then. Oh, wait a minute. Disbelief of progress made. Thanks, Shannon. I appreciate that, because they're used to hearing struggles. Right. Thank you so much for that. And sometimes the progress that's made is so minute to a parent that they might not even understand that it's actually really good progress. Thanks, Sharon, or Shannon, excuse me. parent perspectives on student in school. So there's a big swing, right? So there's fix my child, because they're in denial and they think I'm going to send them to kindergarten and they're going to be on grade level by first grade. Oftentimes, due to the complex nature of teaching and due to the fact that there are administrators who discourage teachers from being, not all of them, but there are some, and I have had some, that have discouraged teachers from being really forthright about their rights under IDEA. And so there's not enough information. And there might be multiple children with multiple disabilities in a home. And then there's the other swing, the other way, where you have a parent with an advocate and they know all their rights and they know the entire law, and they tend to be, when the iPads came out, we would support teachers and SLPs using the iPads with students, and we would hear how parents just wanted an iPad because it was the new cool thing. And that's not the reason to get an iPad. The reason for the iPad is that's a good match and fit as a tool for the child. Also, there's that swing back to no parenting skills and no reason to work on them. There are schools and districts where the parents don't really have parenting skills. That's not a culture within the community. I had, in my first few years of teaching, I taught in a barrio school down here in Southern California, and the behavior was great. There was no parenting skills as far as helping with homework, but there's also situations where there's just no parenting skills, and CPS might get called in to come and assist with protecting the children. So one of the participants in one of my studies a few years back said either they are litigious or terrified or both, and they just want me to fix their kid. They won't accept that this, being autism, is their new normal. So I don't know if any of you resonate with that, but if you do, you can, put something in the chat like, yep, that's me. Or if you're a little shy and you don't want to do the chat, that's fine as well. So then we move into parent perspectives in a virtual world. And I want to stop and give myself a little time for a commercial here. There's, you might be saying, well, Jennifer, we're back to face-to-face. Well, maybe, but due to the COVID, due to the Delta variant and the newer variant, and the fact that children are not yet vaccinated, only down to age 12, and due to the fact that some parents don't feel comfortable vaccinating their child, there are so many reasons that some schools and districts bounce back and forth between virtual and face-to-face and virtual and face-to-face. So the timing is pretty good that this presentation is still relevant. So parent perspectives in a virtual world. I interviewed 46 special educators from all over the nation in a phenomenological study that is just being completed in final write-up. And what we learned, that went in an ATAAC study, as I said before, there are multiple students at home, right? And there's multiple disabilities at home. So you maybe have a house where there's one computer and multiple students with multiple disabilities. There's homes where English is not the first language. And parents, like one participant up in Oregon was saying how, look, I speak Spanish fluently, but I don't know the computer terms to be able to describe what the parent needs to do on the Chromebook to get access. So there's those things as well. There is working parents. Many parents were working from home, and some parents are still working from home. So there's a time factor. There's 5 children in the home and 1 Chromebook, so there's access to technology. Or there's 5 children and 5 Chromebooks and only 1 or 2 parents trying to help them out. There's frustration with technology, depending on the level of support that a school or a district is able to provide for parents. I mean, some schools have a really good setup where parents can go to a help desk at the school and get the help they need, but others don't really have a plan in place and really depend on the teacher to figure it out. I've heard that more often than I can count. There are in-person activities that can't be accomplished. So a good friend of mine, Chris Wenger, you know him as the speech dude. If you've done any other AbleNet webinars in the past, he had his Instagram speech dude account almost became therapy sessions for SLPs because they were not able to do those hand over hand activities, or they had to wear a mask in person, and it became impossible to service the child well. There were so many challenges in the world of SLP during COVID, and they remain. So the SET framework was developed by Dr. Joy Zabala, and is a part of a big website that she has developed to help teachers. But I thought, why not have us understand deeply this SET deeply enough that we can explain this process to parents, because then parents can in turn see this framework and use it at home as structure for learning for their child. It's supposed to be a team approach. And Dr. Zabala, who unfortunately passed away in the spring, and we miss her, and we thank her so much for her legacy of the SET framework and also of the quality indicators for technology listserv that she so bravely developed. All of her materials are research-based, research-backed, and free to us. So she leaves behind her a great legacy. Now, getting to the SET. The SET framework, here it is. It is linked to the presentation, and it's also part of the handout that you have that's linked to the presentation. And this explains it very well, but it's about students, environment, task, and tool. The student, what is the area of instructional or behavioral concern? What are the students' needs? What are the students' current abilities? So as you think about this, not as a teacher, but as a teacher teaching the parents to look at their child through the SET framework, it might give them a better sense of structure and added value to supporting assistive technology and AAC at home. What environment does the child or the student, young person, live in? What are the characteristics? What is the physical arrangement of the learning environment? What physical processes need to happen that either impede progress or support progress towards their IEP goals? What tasks are the students trying to accomplish? So is it a cognitive task, or is it a physical task? Or is it multiple disabilities that are needing to be addressed? What things are essential to the student's achievement in that environment? And then I want to say again, what tasks are essential for students' achievement in the home environment? Because we need to bring this now into the home. Our research, I keep going back to it, but we've learned so much. Oftentimes, what you do in school with a child doesn't transfer to what they do at home, especially in relation to AAC and communication devices. So how can we better support and help our parents to provide those consistent services at home? One of the ways we can do that is, again, investing time in introducing them to the SET framework. Tools, what tools, both devices and services, need to be used in order to really make a solid plan of organization and implementation for a child at home. So we're going to go through these. There's a SET framework. We also have a link to the SET website. There's Dr. Joy. She has been an amazing, remarkable woman, even in my life. She has been a guest speaker in my master's classes at APU. She's just the most generous soul in the world. So the world is sad to lose her. And then here is, no, that is not. I will fix that link in my Google presentation so that you have that as well. Okay, so it's research-based, it's tested, it's effective, and you can create a SET approach with your parents, to be redundant. Now, the first part of the SET is the student. To look at the child as both a learner and as a child. One of the things I strongly encourage special educators to do and parents to do is not only focus on the area of disability, but also focus on the area of strength. most of the time, all of the time, 100% of the time, nature has a way of balancing people out. So if there's a big deficit, there's also going to be a big area of strength. If there's a big area of strength, like in a gifted child, there's always going to be a deficit somewhere. You think of people that are brilliant, like Robin Williams, great, talented actor, but also bipolar and suicidal later in his life. What a shame. Other people who have been just huge minds and huge forces. I think of Christopher Hills, who is a strong YouTube presence. He leads a charge called I Am Not My Disability. He is severely physically challenged, and it's really hard to understand him. If you go to YouTube, just go Christopher Hills, I Am Not My Disability. He's got a ton of YouTube videos out there. He's a rebel with a cause, and the cause is to get out to the world his strength, not just his disability. And he has in the past worked with NASA to teach them how to use switch capabilities in order to maneuver better in astronaut gloves. So pretty cool. Look at the strengths, and then you can support the challenges through the strengths and through learning preferences. Learning preferences are huge. The second part of the set is the environment. Where are they? Are they at home? Are they in a hybrid where it's half home, half school? Are they face-to-face at school? Is there a designated place for learning, not only in your classroom, but is there a designated place for learning in the home? This is a really good question to ask parents. Do you have a designated place for your child to learn? Is it organized? What tools are being used to help that child reach their goals? So designated place to learn. This is not a designated place to learn, the one on the left. That's chaotic and messy and not conducive to peace and learning. This actually is my granddaughter's bedroom, and she did her whole kindergarten year virtually. She did half of her TK year virtually and her entire kindergarten year virtually. She had an amazing kindergarten teacher who used Seesaw and a bunch of different apps and websites to keep those kindergartners engaged and on top of it for an entire year. She had them dancing, she had them up and moving, she had a lot of kinesthetic activities. And my granddaughter stayed with us for a few days one weekday last year, and when it was 9:05 and it was time to go to school, she went into my office and she said, "I'm okay, Grammy." And she shut the door and she did it all herself. And it was hilarious. I'm like, okay, kindergartner, you got this. It can be done with a really organized, designated place to be. Set 3 is tasks. So that's consider the goals that are noted on the IEP or other goals. Tasks can be academic, social, emotional, behavioral, or organizational. Those are all goals for our kiddos. What are the preferred activities? So you hear often about non-preferred activities done in a preferred way. And some people have said, what does that mean? I say, well, you have something that they hate doing. And if you do it in a way that they like, say they really like their iPad and they really like this certain app that has music in it, can we do letter recognition or writing using the thing that they like? Maybe it's not an iPad, maybe it's not even digital, maybe it's crayons and a piece of paper, maybe it's kinesthetic. What do they like to draw on the sand? Do they like shaving cream? Do they like whipped cream? Non-preferred activities in a preferred way, that'll help this child really engage. No, I'm not going to guarantee that. I'm going to say you have a better probability of maybe having the child actually do the tasks if it's done in a preferred way. Because every day is different, every minute is different with these kiddos. What are the areas of strength? I know I've said it at least a dozen times now, but really areas of strength are one of the most important critical means to get through to a child. And I can tell you some stories about how that has worked with former students of mine, if you're interested. What tools are currently used to help achieve growth on goals? And what are other tools that we need to consider? What are assistive technology tools? And what are tools that the child likes to use, say the phone or social media, if it's allowed, that you can leverage to help the child want to work on that goal more readily? And then, as you know, set 4 is tools. It's low tech, mid tech, and high tech. What tools are currently being used and what tools should be considered that are not working? And also always remember that what one tool that works today or this minute might not work again tomorrow. It's just the way it is with students. Okay, so here's some ideas to keep them organized. So this is actually my granddaughter's kindergarten teacher's schedule. So set a daily schedule. This she gave to parents so that she was available to parents and parents were on the same page and they knew they had a schedule. Schedules are really critical. So she blocked out the days of the week in terms of what they're doing. Wednesdays had their meetings with different groups of kids. And then she had a block of time for parent and student support from 2 to 3:30 every day. And some days she had lots of people needing things and some days she didn't, but they had that block of time available to them. I'm going to go to the chat real quick and make sure there is nothing. Oh, thank you, Tommy. The new website. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Tammy. I said Tommy. I meant Tammy. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. Have them set a daily learning routine. So what are we doing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in reading, writing, math, and drawing? So she had the different kindergarten skills: smell, taste, hear, see, and touch. And then a writing goal and a reading goal and a math goal. So it's a little open-ended. They could do things different way with their parents so that we didn't, so we don't have confusion that way, but also some flexibility in the schedule. I would go back to full screen, but I think I'm going to need to be here anyway. So get to full screen. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it right now. All right, so idea number 3, parent therapy. Really, really important. Sometimes parents really need therapy as much as anybody else. And when I was in public education, I called it that. I just said, okay, you need therapy? Okay, come on, let's meet. Let's talk through what we're doing. It's going to be okay. So discuss emerging issues, show a new tool or a resource, celebrate small victories, and troubleshoot with parents. I like this one, deep listening, 5 cents. The empathetic listener is in, because sometimes people just need you to listen to them and they don't need you to fix them. They just want listening. And I've noticed that along the span of my career that a lot of times listening is the most important thing to do with parents before you even start to try to address an issue. Just listen, practice that active listening. And as things progress, once a person has felt heard, oftentimes they're more willing to listen to the advice that you might give them. Idea 4, for different ages, different disabilities, there are different needs. So an idea for mod severe TK, they're learning how to learn, right? Those of you who teach that know that these little guys are just learning the system of school and learning how to do school, learning how to come into a room, learning how to sit down in a circle, learning how to, the process of learning. So they are, remember to encourage parents not to do it all for them because they are capable of learning, but parents would like to just take over and do it for them. I heard that over and over and over with special educators during the pandemic. They're like, They just take over and they do everything for the kids, and that is not a good idea. And the little ones get exhausted, as we do. I was zoomed out by the end of last academic year because we did so many Zoom sessions all the time, and it's real active listening where you can see yourself on the screen, and it's incredibly exhausting. So take brain breaks. I'm going to take a break for that right now. Again, I want to remember, this is for you to teach your parents. So take this presentation and do a parent night with it. Do whatever you want. It's yours. If I can help you help your parents in any way, I feel like my hour has been valuable. So this is a break board that a teacher made for a mod severe student during COVID, during virtual learning. So the student had choices of they had 4 breaks during the day, and you use your first break, then your second break, then your third break, then your last break, obviously. And then break time choices were drawing or Legos or relaxing, or maybe going outside to play for 10, 15 minutes, or you can customize this in regards to the preferences of that student, what they like to do, and when they like to take breaks. Some students can work really well for a longer amount of time in the morning, and then in the afternoon, they kind of fall apart. So you need more breaks. Some students need consistent breaks throughout. Okay, so with older students, really cut it down to the essential work. And for your parents, tell them, no, we don't need extra worksheets. No, we don't need extra. They need to do the work that's essential, and then let them do more learning activities through games. Let them get on an app on their tablet or Chromebook. Let them go outside and play. Let them play a game with neighbor friends. But make sure you help your parents understand that sitting after they have sat all day, sitting more for a child isn't really learning anymore. Sitting 6.5 hours and then sitting again for homework isn't valuable. And create activities for non-preferred tasks using preferred mediums, as I explained earlier. Okay, so now that's the SET framework, and that's some ideas for having you help the parents understand that framework and providing maybe an organizational structure where you all can work together to have more of a structure that transfers from school to home. It's very, very valuable for parents, and it will create some partnerships among you. Now, I did a lot of digging and research and got some great ideas from parents that I talked to over this past year. Parents don't know how to necessarily ask for help. One of the fallacies of parenting is that they should know it all because they're absolutely the parent, right? I mean, I have worked with parents like that. I know I should know everything, and inside I'm terrified because I don't know everything, and I don't even know how to ask for help. So one thing, what I would do when I was in the classroom was back to school night or any other time, I would sit and do my presentation. So I was eye level with my parents. And I would say, look, I'm a parent too. We all make mistakes. Here's my cell phone number. Let's partner together with this. And even just that simple act of being eye level with parents really leveled the playing field a little bit, because I'm not standing up looking over you. We are in this together for your child. It's a psychological trick, but it works really well for some people. So as social emotional learning, here's a great website, and it's also on the resource sheet that I sent. It's actually a Facebook group. It is a private group. You have to sign this. No, you have to answer a couple questions to join it, but it's all parents and educators, 13,000+ members. But it's all about social emotional learning. I joined the group. I absolutely love the things they share and the way they support each other and their children in social emotional learning. There's discussions, there's announcements, there's guides, there's topics, there's events, excuse me. Excuse me. Wow. That it's a great resource for you and for your parents. Then also important parenting. 4 important parenting lessons from life in lockdown. This was an article I found recently, and this is real. This is truth. We expect too much of ourselves. Absolutely. We listen to everybody's advice, and that's not a good thing either. We let the kids lead the way. That is not a good, that's not a good system either. And put on your own oxygen mask first. In other words, take care of your own emotional needs before you try to start saving the world. Because if you are empty inside, or if you're exhausted, there's no way that you can help your child in the way they need to be helped. Or you can help your parent, help your child in the way they need to be helped. So teachers, remember, self-care is important for us too. 3G Strong is another really great website. It's social emotional learning program with great growth mindset and grace. Such a great, there's curriculum. It's a great resource for parents and teachers. It's for social emotional learning for us and for our parents. And then it's also great for us to help our children, because children have been through a lot with this, going from face-to-face to online and now back to face-to-face. There have been a lot of really significant challenges for all of us, right? And there's been people who have passed away from COVID, and there's jobs that have been lost, and the world has turned upside down, and there's been a lot of social unrest. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and a little bit exhausted, you should feel overwhelmed and a little bit exhausted, because the world has been a lot in the past 1.5 years, a lot. And don't deny that. It's really important for us, teachers, parents, and students, not to deny that it has been hard, because it's been hard, and there's a way we can get through it. So here's some more help. Oops. Self-regulation resources for parents, educators, and leaders. Self-regulation is a big deal. So this is for parents. There are courses, there are research articles. What is self-regulation? We all know self-regulation is being able to pull yourself out of a slump, and even more, that's a very surface way to say it, but self-regulation involves personal discipline, involves not going bonkers when something goes wrong. It is a way to help our kids with self-regulation as well. There is a website for educators. There are programs. It does cost money. It is expensive, but you can send a team for around $600. I don't know who has money right now. We don't, but I mean, at our university, everything counts. But if you have a pot of money for professional development, this might be a way to go. And this is self-regulation for leaders. It might be something you want to share with your admin, or if you are in admin credential school or hope to become an admin and you want to work with your teachers, your parents, your students on self-regulation and on being a good leadership model, this is a great place for you to start. One of the studies that we did, I was talking to Deb about this before the webinar. We looked at exemplary practices of site level administrators leading schools in the shift from face-to-face to online during COVID. And what we found 100% was successful schools and districts were led by really strong, highly empathetic leaders who had empathy for the teachers, who spearheaded the relationship with parents and the support of parents, that valued small successes, that celebrated even failures as attempts to learn something new instead of as a failure, They were highly empathetic with their teachers. They held high standards for everyone, but they learned the tools first, modeled them first, and then brought their staff along. There was a lot of really, really interesting themes that are important for us to know as teachers and as administrators, but also as leaders within our own systems to look at it and be able to say, okay, what's going on in my school and how can I help make it better? Empathy is a big deal. Okay, and then there is more resources. So Panorama Education. I tried to find as many free resources as I possibly could. 6 strategies to increase parent engagement in social emotional learning. So here's an article for you to read and for you to share with both parents and with teachers and administrators at your school site. I don't like to pay for anything. So really the only thing that is for money is the self-regulation thing. Nothing else that I have in this is for pay. Pear Deck has great. So if you use Pear Deck, they have great slides already developed for you on social emotional learning, and you can share these with your parents. You could use these as a training model, some professional development at an open house or back to school night. Newsla also has some great strategies using Pear Deck. It's pre-done, so you don't really have to think about it. It's already done for you. Then there are so many Facebook groups. So this is another one. This is self-contained SPED and distance education. It has 2.4K members. You also have to join using a small form to fill out, and then they allow you in. But there's all kinds of great information here for teachers and for parents, and there's so many people involved. It's just great. Let's see. Another one is my favorite one. It wasn't already up. Let me show you. United Through Autism. I love this group. It's one of my favorite. It is run by a parent. A parent developed it who has a student who was born completely normal, and as he progressed up to about 3, he kept losing language and became autistic by the time he was 3, but he was on target with all of his goals up till about 2, and then he just started losing words. And she said that he fairly vanished before her eyes, which was a really sad thing. And the way she has dealt with it is to create this group. It's private, but you can join it with again a little form to fill out. And it's all parents and teachers, but it's mostly parents here to just really get some support and some ideas in working with your child with autism. So, and it's all positive. There's no negative in this. It's all celebrating success. There's no celebrating defeats. We look at failures as potential for success. We look at failures as a place to grow and learn. We look at failures as a place to become a better version of ourselves. And we weave that into our working with parents, and we weave that into our working with students. You're like, because what I tell my students and my children and anyone who will listen to me is we learn more from our failures than we will ever learn from our successes. And that's the truth. Okay, so now what's the plan? I like to end my presentations with a challenge, and you can use the chat or a question. So talk, or just at least think about challenges of working online, or the possibility of having to go back online should the Delta variant or a breakout happen on your campus. What's your plan? What are some things that you're thinking about now? Another thing that's vital is to create a team approach. I interviewed a parent who whose ABA had developed this really great team approach with all of the players for her children, the BCBA, the ABA, the SLP, the AT, the OT, the PT, all of them were in the same structure. They corporately provided a structure of organization for her in her home, and she followed through and implemented it. And it was really a solid model for her two boys with autism. And it was a great, and one had speech. So it was just a great setup. And it was because they created a team approach. They set a schedule. They set times for parent therapy and training. It's important for us to have therapy and training. Charles said, making time for parents and team members to chat and openly share concerns. I agree. It's easy to forget the importance of that time. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's easy when I say to my master's students, I'm like, okay, do you need therapy? Let's just make therapy time. Project one therapy. And they'll laugh in a way that's like a release. Laugh, like you just called it therapy, Dr. Courduff, really, because that's funny. And it just takes away that anxious feeling and the feeling that that you should know more than you do. Jennifer says parents' feelings around taking back the role of being a partner in education, kids experiencing behavior around change in the environment for learning. Yes, yes. Parents, somebody just said this to me the other day. All right, no, I read it in a transcript. The parent was saying, I don't know how you do this all day long. I can't make them listen to me. And the teacher was saying, I can't make them listen to me either. I just do it every day. And I'm in my classroom and it's not in the home. And it's a bigger challenge in the home if the home isn't structured and there's no follow through from school to home. Yeah, that is a big challenge, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Correct. They might not be educational goals, but some of the goals that are behavioral goals or just basic procedure and routine oriented goals, they lead to educational goals. I had a parent say, I think that all of the goals are educational goals because they're all setting up my child for success. And if my child can't be successful, then they're not going to be successful in education either. That's great. Jennifer says she focuses on goals, getting them back attending to the screen or just being in the room where the computer is in the learning environment. These things, like you said, it's really important to try to partner with parents on this. And I'm not saying it's easy at all, because then if we go back to at the beginning of the presentation, when I said parents, if the parents have kids with multiple disabilities in the home, 5 or 6 kids and multiple disabilities. And oftentimes, or sometimes, parents have disabilities themselves and they need the support. So I'm not saying any of this lightly because there are some real challenging situations for parents, especially when I think back to parents who don't speak English. So we have English spoken at school, but in the home and it's Spanish, and half of the stuff can't be translated, especially when you're on a computer. So that makes it even more challenging. Create a sense of balance in reality. As teachers, we tend to put ourselves last. We tend to work with our students and parents at school, and then we go home and we work with our own kids and our own families and problems. You need to be balanced as well. So this is Jennifer Courduff told me I need to be balanced. You can blame it on me because you really do need to have some you time, some time for your own self-care, some time to take a nap or eat a cookie, something where you're not just giving all the time. And when you provide resources, provide them one at a time. If you give them a long list of things, it is overwhelming and daunting and they can't do it. So one thing for 2 weeks and then try something else. But Jen, again, I'm looking at your comment, Jennifer, I'm sorry. Getting them back on the screen or just being in the room sometimes is the most daunting goal of the day, right? So that's the end of my presentation. I am here to answer any questions you might have. You have my Twitter handle there at the bottom at Gamine64. Gamine means little brat in French. And when I lived in Switzerland, that's what I was called because I was a little bit of a brat at 19. And there's my APU email. And I never, ever, ever mind you getting in touch with me, asking questions, asking for further areas of support. We have many, not, I don't know, a good many other presentations on the AbleNet YouTube website, so you can peruse those as well. We have the speech do theory series that's there for looking at it, assistive technology tools. We've got a menus presentation. We have all kinds of different presentations for you to look at if you have time and if you feel like that would help your needs. Deb, that's it.
All right. Well, I'm watching the chat and the Q&A, and I'm not currently seeing any new questions.
There's one.
Just some thank yous for the information.
Great.
All right. Well, Jennifer, I thank you so much for all of your information and the detail around it. And thanks everyone for joining us today. Oh, someone has a question. Jennifer, please go ahead and put your question in.
Go for it. We're here.
She's wondering if you have any resources on a coordinated approach when agencies are both community and school-based.
I actually have a contact person that I can reach out to get an answer for you on that. Definitely. Where are you? Okay. All right. Jennifer, if you can send me this information on email, I will reach out to my contact person who is actually a parent who has coordinated community and school-based resources and done it very, very well. So maybe there is an approach that that might be able to be tried. Community, yeah, and there's, and the thing that there are firm lines that the schools hold and community resources aren't validated. Send me information on the community resources as well. Are they coming through the SELPA up there, the Special Education Local Plan Agency? Oh, okay. Are they just send me the resources, send me where they originate from, and let's see if we can come up with a strategy to try to help you with that. County agencies. Huh. Yes, absolutely. I will be happy to look through that for you, because this parent that I know actually went to battle and figured that all out for her son during COVID, because he wasn't getting the resources that he needed, and she made it work for him. So yeah, definitely email me. I'd be glad to figure that out with you.
All right. Well, I don't see anything else. Jennifer, again, thank you so much. And thanks for attending, everyone. That will be the end of our webinar.
Thanks, everyone.